Now we're going to look at some problems involving ellipses. So this first problem, number 32, they give us some information and they want us to find the equation of the ellipse and then try and graph it. They tell us the center is at 0, 0, the origin. They give us one focus point and one vertex. So let's go ahead and start graphing this, see what kind of ellipse we're going to have, and then we can start working on it. It's a pretty big number, 15, 0, so x 15, how about 5, 10. So here's a focus. And the vertex is negative 17, 0. Of course, there are two foci and two vertices, so I think they've given us one on either side because we know that the foci are inside the vertices. Now they tell us the center is at 0, 0. So it's obviously going to be a left or right parabola. So I go to the formula sheet and I have to know that the standard equation for a left-right parabola is x minus h squared over a squared plus y minus k squared over b squared. So the center, h and k are 0, so we can start to try to come up with that equation. So A is the distance from the center to your vertice. So if I said it was at minus 17, the center is at 0, obviously it's 17. So if we can figure out what B is, then we'll have the equation of this ellipse. I don't know B, however, I do know the distance from the center to the foci, we call that C. And for an ellipse, C squared equals A squared minus B squared. So if I know C and A, then that gives me a way to determine B. So if C is 15, it's going to be 15 squared. A is 17, so 17 squared minus b squared. Now if you do the calculation, 15 squared is 225. 17 squared is 289, but I'm going to subtract it to get it to the other side. So this is going to be negative 64. The negatives cancel. And that's what I really need. B squared 64. And I could, if I multiply this out, this is probably what they're looking for. 17 squared is 289. Plus y squared over 64 equals 1. Now if they want the graph of that, we're going to have to go up 8. And then down 8. And then we can try and, well, this other vertex is going to be Ellipses can be hard to draw very well. All right, given information, come up with the equation and the graph. Now the next problem is they give us a graph of an ellipse and they want the equation. So let's zoom in so we can see the detail of what exactly we have here. Really zero in. So let me write down some information. Obviously the vertex is labeled 3 minus 2. You probably can't see what I'm writing until I finish. From the vertex, let's go ahead and figure out A and B. Obviously this is a left or right ellipse. Looks like each one of these tick marks are 1. So 1, 2, 3. My guess is A is 3 and B is 2. So with that information, we should be able to come up with the equation of the ellipse, because if this is a left or right ellipse, this is the standard form of that equation. We know H and K, that's the vertex, and we know A and B. So if H is 3, x minus 3 quantity squared over A squared, 9, plus y minus k, it looks like k is negative 2, so it's going to be y plus 2 squared over B squared. It looks like that is the equation. I will check and make sure I didn't make any mistakes. And that is the equation, and I believe that's all they asked for. Not too bad. Now there's one more ellipse problem, and that's where they give us the equation. This is number 34, I believe. Here's the equation of ellipse. X minus 6 quantity squared over 81 plus y plus 6 quantity squared over 25 equals 1. They want to know the center of the ellipse, the vertices, the foci, and then to sketch a graph of this ellipse. Well, the standard equation, this is going to be a left or right since the x is above the larger number. Plus y minus k quantity squared over b squared equals 1. So we're going to be able to find everything. We're going to figure out what everything is equal to. Now we just have to fill in. So the center, which is actually hk. So here's my suggestion. I go get the h. I think of that as minus 6, and when it goes into the center, it becomes positive. And the k, here it's plus 6, so when you get to here, it's negative. Now let's figure out A and B. If A squared is 81, A is 9, and if B squared is 25, B is going to be 5. Let's go ahead and start working on the graph. It's going to make us easy to figure out what these points are. So the center is at 6, -6. Six, -6. And now, since it's I didn't write it down here, this is definitely a left or right parabola, because x squared is above the larger number. I'm going to go, if A is 9, from the center I can move 9 to the right and 9 to the left. So if I'm sitting here at 6 -6, moving 9 to the right, is it going to take me to 15 -6? Moving 9 to the left, it's going to take me to like -3 -6. So it's going to be the two vertices. -3 -6 and -15 -6. Foci we are going to do mathematically in a minute. Let's go and mark up the minor vertices. So I'm going to move up 5 and down 5. So now I can try, and these ellipses are not easy to draw sometimes. I wasn't very careful with my point here. Let me redo this point. So it's 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, more like right here. It's not great, but it's close. We haven't done the foci yet. So the equation for the foci, which is the distance c from the center, for ellipses, we have this equation, c squared equals a squared minus b squared. Since we know a squared is 81, and we know b squared is 25, it's like 56. And therefore, square root of 56. And actually, 4 goes into 56. So it ends up being so now the foci, you move to the right and to the left from the center. So start here. If we go to the right, 2 square root of 14, that's going to be 6 plus 2 square root of 14. And the value of y is -6. Then the other foci would be 6 minus 2 square root of 14 minus 6. All right, so there we go for ellipses.